What is up, my piano friend? Zach Evans here, and if you're watching this video, it means you have full access to Piano University. Every course, ebook, audio file, PDF file that I've ever created and that I will create in the future. So the reason for this video is basically to help you kind of organize all these different courses and come up with a game plan on how to learn them so you don't try to learn everything at once and get very overwhelmed. I've gotten some emails in the past that say, hey Zach, bought full access, there's just too much information. Can you help me kind of narrow this down? So basically, the reason for this is Piano University started off as 2 courses and an ebook. That's it. It was very easy to navigate. It was very easy to get all the information. But as the courses got more and more popular, I realized I wanted to add different courses based on different subsections and different niches of piano. So now here we are with, like 6, 7 different courses, a couple ebooks, and some audio files. And this video is going to show you how to organize that. Now, the reason that this isn't set up as a linear process where it's literally one course, the Zach Evans piano course, lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, is because from my perspective, it's very difficult to create a piano course that makes sense for everybody. And I wanted it to be flexible so you can create your own plan. For example, somebody might come in having played classical music their entire life, and maybe their scales and their technique are absolutely rock solid already, right? So they could actually skip the whole technique mastery course, but they've never played by ear in their life. So playing by ear, they might be a complete beginner. So it doesn't make sense to have one course. It makes sense to have 2 different courses so you can say, okay, I can actually skip a lot of this course, but this course I'm still a beginner. On the same token, some people might have grown up teaching themselves and kind of developed their ear themselves. So they might be phenomenal at playing by ear, but never practice a scale in their life and their technique is lacking. So it makes sense to kind of have a bunch of different courses. That way you can create your own game plan and you can have a flexible course that fits your exact needs and your exact goals instead of one static course that's not going to really make sense for you. All right, so let's go on to all the courses. So basically, if you bought full access and there's one course you're specifically really excited to do or really passionate about, you can absolutely ignore what I'm saying in this video and just start at that course and start working through those lessons. Similarly, if you're very experienced and you're very intuitive and okay, I know the levels I'm at each of these stages, I know which ones I need the most work on, then you can start whichever course you need the most work on. But if you're somebody who's like maybe you're like, Zach, I'm a complete beginner, where do I start? Maybe you're like, Zach, I'm not a complete beginner, but honestly, I just want to get really good at piano. I don't really know exactly which parts to work on. I just want to become a very well-rounded piano player. I'm going to give you a kind of game plan on where to go from here. All right, so first off, this top line of courses, and this is what it'll look like when you log in, the top line, or you can also find them over here. These are what are called the flagship courses. So these are kind of the main courses, and the other, ebooks and courses are more so supplementary, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, the PSH course is the free course, so feel free to just completely skip this. All the information in the PSH course is actually covered in more detail in the premium courses, so you can skip this one altogether. Now, the most important of these courses is the technique mastery course. And actually, the technique mastery and the music theory mastery are kind of the 2 beginners fundamental courses, because no matter what genre you want to learn, no matter what kind of your goals are on piano, music theory will always help you. Having solid technique will always help you. So I highly recommend starting off with these 2 courses. And if you see, I'm going to have a little example practice plans here. Okay, so here's the bare minimum practice routine, right? If you only have 10 minutes a day, you want to spend 5 minutes on technique mastery, 5 minutes on music theory mastery. And all you have to do is go to the course and you click this go to course and I'll have all the lessons down here for you. Same thing with music theory mastery or any of the other courses up here. Now, when you're doing this, it says 5 minutes, but in reality, the first kind of time you're learning it's going to take longer because you're actually going to be watching the video lessons and coming up with a plan for yourself and taking notes. So the first time it might take more than 5 minutes when you're learning a specific lesson, but then the next day when you come back, now you're just practicing the lesson, right? So for example, in the technique mastery section, let's say you do the lesson on scales. The first day you're going to be going through the whole scale video. You're going to be learning how to practice scales, but then every day thereon after, you can just actually practice the scales instead of going back to the video and relearning everything, because you already know what to do, you just have to do it. Same thing, music theory mastery, there are exercises. So the first day, you're gonna actually have to watch the lesson and learn it. After that, it's only gonna spend 5 minutes because you're just going through one of the exercises. All right, so those are the first two you want to learn. And this is the bare minimum routine, 10 minutes. However, I would highly suggest you try to get that up to at least 20 minutes of a practice session. That way you can actually start working on songs. Now, this works the same way: 5 minutes technique, 5 minutes music theory, and 10 minutes working on a song with the Supercharge course. Now, the Supercharge course is this course, and this is a course that's basically designed to help you learn songs faster. So it's efficient practice strategies to help you learn songs faster. So what I recommend you doing is going through these lessons one at a time. Don't, binge watch all the lessons, you're gonna forget them all, but do one at a time and start to add those practice strategies into your playing. And it'll make a lot more sense once you start going through the course. Again, this is going to be one, when you're watching the lesson the first time, it's going to take longer. But once you know the practice strategy, all you have to do is implement it into the song. Which brings me to my next point, is where do I find these songs? Because in the courses, I didn't want to put a bunch of songs for the same reason. One, everybody's has a different genre that inspires them. And it doesn't really make sense for me, because I really do believe you should play songs you truly enjoy. That's the only way you'll stay motivated. Now, you can find tons of songs online very easily. If you read by sheet music, you can just type in song name sheet music on YouTube. If you don't, no problem, go to YouTube and you just type in easy song or easy piano tutorial and then just type in the name of the song. And as long as it's a popular song, there's always somebody who's done a tutorial for it. So I'd recommend sticking with songs that are more popular, when you start out. That way there's a lot of options for tutorials. All right, so that's kind of the 20-minute practice routine. This is really the minimum one I would suggest. The bare minimum routine is more like, okay, maybe you're super, super busy this month at work, but you want to keep your, piano going, but you're so busy you really only have 10 minutes. This is kind of really the minimum routine I recommend. Now, once you have this minimum routine blocked in, you can basically block on some of the other courses. So the next one I would block on is a play-by-ear mastery course. And, again, spend another 5 minutes, block that onto your practice session, and now you have an extra 5 minutes where you're also working on the play-by-ear lesson. Another course is the Project Captivate course, which teaches the crazy runs and fills and riffs. So you can go into there, pick one technique that you really want to learn, whether it's arpeggio sweeping, whether it's glissandos, whether it's trills, and just block in a 5-minute practice session on that. So it might look like this practice session: 5 minutes technique mastery, 5 minutes music theory mastery. Remember, these are the fundamentals, and you still have this 10 minutes supercharge with the song, but now we have 2 other 5-minute sections, one with the play-by-ear mastery, and this one, you could I'll just do Project Captivate here, Project Captivate. You could block that one in. Now, there's another course actually down here, HT Domination, and that stands for Hands Together Domination. Now, this course is a very niche course that's designed to solve the specific problem of getting hands together playing. So if you don't have any issues getting your right hand and your left hand to work together, you can literally skip this entire course. But there's a lot of students that's one of their big struggles. So I wanted to make a course that's completely makes sense with that and solves that problem. So if you're having that problem, no problem, you just block on another 5 minutes of HT Domination course to your original plan. So as you can see, these plans are flexible, and this is a 30-minute routine. Now, you might be watching this video and saying, Zach, I'm ready to practice 2 or 3 hours a day. I'm gonna hit it hard. That's amazing, that's great. For you, you can block in a ton of different sections, right? You could say, 5-minute technique, 5 minutes music theory, 5 minutes play by ear. You could work on 3 different Project Captivate techniques. You could spend more than 10 minutes on a song, right? You might spend 10 minutes on section A of the song, 10 minutes section B, 10 minutes section C, right? You could literally keep expanding this practice routine to fit whatever time frame you have. The other thing, these sections can be longer than 5 minutes. 5 minutes is the minimum I recommend, because if you spend less than that, you're not really getting anything done. 15 minutes is the maximum I recommend, because if you spend longer than 15 minutes, oftentimes you'll end up kind of just spinning your wheels and not being really efficient with what you have. So that's basically how it works. There are also a couple ebooks and stuff like that. So there's a lightning fast piano scales ebook. I would just read this ebook kind of whenever you have some extra time. It does go more in depth onto the scales than the scales lessons in the technique mastery course. So whenever you have time to kind of sit down and read that, it's a very short book, so it's not a super long read. The Supercharge ebook, feel free to skip this if you're going through the Supercharge course already. It does cover the same material, and actually most people find they learn it better if they're learning through the course, just because that way they can actually see what I'm doing as opposed to just reading it. And then the premium audio series, there'll be downloads to that as well. If you've seen the marketing for that, basically that's meant as just a supplement. So that's audio files that kind of teach you piano, but it's not really lessons step by step. It's more so to keep you motivated, to keep you on track, to teach you some concepts. But you kind of just want to listen to that while you're making breakfast, while you're driving to work, while you're walking the dog. You don't sit down at the piano and learn the premium audio series. That's how this specific course works. All right, I really hope this makes sense. If you have, actually, let's do one more just to make sure. Let's build one together, right? So let's say you're saying, okay, right now I'm going to build my kind of practice routine. All right, so we want to start out for sure with a bare minimum. So you're going to say, okay, I'm going to spend 5 minutes on technique mastery. Boom. By the way, if you can't read this typing, I'd recommend full screening the video to make it a little bit easier to see. Then you're going to say, okay, for sure 5 minutes music theory, mastery. Boom. And then the next step, I'm going to say 10 minutes on song plus Supercharge course. And let's say you actually have, this is your default, and you say, okay, I actually want to practice a total of 20, let's say 35 minutes a day. So maybe you're really excited for the Project Captivate course. Maybe you read one of the emails and you're like, yeah, I really want to learn Project Captivate. So maybe you take 2 different techniques from Project Captivate. Let's say 5 minutes on arpeggio sweeping in Project Captivate, and then another 5 minutes on, let's say, glissandos in Project Captivate. If you don't know what these are yet, don't worry about it for now. This is what you're excited about, for example. So this might be your full practice routine. And typically I put the songs at the end because the songs are kind of the fun part. So you might want to organize it like this with the song at the end. So this could be Bob's practice routine. As you go through the lessons, it'll go through how to spend this 5 minutes exactly. So it'll give you the step-by-step technique mastery. Okay, I'm working on scales. How am I working on scales? I'm spending, maybe 2 minutes on the rhythms technique, 2 minutes on metronome ramp up. Anyway, you'll understand all that as you go through the courses. I hope this makes sense. I hope this really clears everything up for you if you're kind of overwhelmed on where to start with Piano University. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, zach@bestpianoclass.com. I try to respond within 3 business days. I've been getting a ton of emails lately, but I'm really keeping up with it. So either me or actually my brother, who runs some of the support emails, will get back to you within 3 business days. And lastly, I just want to say thank you so much for getting this course. It means the world to me. This is how I make my living now, and You know, it's been my dream forever to make a living in music, and it really does mean the world to me that you spend your hard-earned money to learn through me. So thanks a lot for that. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, and happy practicing.